Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4! And today spawning in the west side of the map, playing in red, we've got Anotand, playing as the Ottomans. And we're casting a lot of his games these days, and for good reason. He is rank number 1 on the ladder at the moment, and battling out against him today, spawning in the southeast in blue, looking to take some of his points. It's Worm, also known as beastyqt, playing as the Mongols. Welcome everyone to Rocky River. As always, good morning, good afternoon, and maybe a good evening. Depending, of course, where you are. Either way, we're going to be in for a cracking game today. The Mongols versus the Ottomans. And you know what? It's been a while since we've featured Mongols on the channel. And it's just a civilization that's not often played these days. But we're going to take the opportunity today to see what they can do. Spearmen going out across the map already for the Ottomans. And, you know, the Mongols do often go for an outpost rush, but it doesn't look like that's the case today. Beasty, in fact, opting for a faster feudal age, looking to get early pastures for that food. Speaking of food, that's a lot of sheep that Anotand has got with his scout at the moment. That's going to be putting him in a really good spot. Now, he didn't actually opt for a military school here, Anotand, so he does have 50 stone in the bank. He opted for a barracks early to get a couple of spearmen out, so he paid the full cost for this. That means that's going to be, you know, it's going to be delaying his tech up to the feudal age a little bit, potentially. We have to see. Now, as always, a big thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've been growing quite heavily on the channel recently, which is kind of fantastic to see. I'm glad that you guys have been enjoying the content. I've definitely been curating the ones that I've been... I don't think curating is the right word. Either way, I've been selective about what we post on the channel, making sure that the games that we are putting up are the best games that I've casted. And so I think that's probably actually made a big difference because I think people are coming back to watch more and more. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. Now, I love this play, by the way, for the Ottomans. I think if you play as the Ottomans, this is something that you can really look to do. Because, I mean, especially against the Mongols, it's very tough to actually get value against the Mongols in the super early game in the Dark Age because everything is usually quite condensed. Having said that, actually, these spearmen could have potentially harassed these villagers. But, you know. Either way, these spearmen are actually going to give him a lot of value here, Anotand, pushing in the deer. And this is a lot of food, guys. 350 food per deer. And if my math is correct, there are 7 deer here. Just have to check that. There we go. I can count, guys. It'll be 7 deer, so there's plenty of food. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do the maths. I'm not going to do 350 times 7. Not on top of my head. That's just going to be opening myself to potential embarrassment. I'm sure I can do it. You just have to trust me. Either way, on a map like Rocky River, where food is in abundance, this is very nice because this is going to allow him to get potentially a fast castle out of this. And typically when you see this landmark, that's often what's chosen. The Sultan Hani trade network, really kind of a popular landmark for the Ottomans these days. Mostly because it achieves a very similar, I guess, benefit as the Twin Minaret Madrasa. Obviously the Twin Minaret Madrasa is about food, this is about gold, but its resources are all the same. But more importantly, you get free traders, but you can scale it a little bit. You get a couple more traders, garrison 10 in total into the landmark. And then you also got the potential for trade later on in the game. I don't necessarily think we'll see that. And we're not apparently going to be seeing that for the Mongols as well. I mean, to be fair though, we have seen some interesting strategies from the Mongols where despite not going for silvertree, they can still go for trade. It can sometimes confuse opponents when they see the deer stones, but are still trading. And it wouldn't be unusual for the Mongols to do just that. Trade is a very strong way to scale your economy. In many ways, actually stronger than getting town centres. Because of the fact that the buy-in is so cheap, right? All you have to do is make a market, and the markets aren't expensive. Well, relatively, they're not anyway. 100 wood compared to, what, 850 wood for the Mongols? So it's a significantly higher cost attributable to it. Then you have to actually build the thing, and then, you know, make the villages as well. So it's a very high investment, a town centre, but it does offer you some flexibility in terms of where you send your villagers, what resources. But also, well, unless you put other French or Jean, right? Because Jean and the French can actually toggle their traders onto food or wood if they wish to. But I guess the bigger thing about trade is harder to defend. It's, you know, if he does trade, he'll be going to this corner here, trading to this trade post, and it's a long way to try and protect, especially as the Mongols, where they don't get palisade walls. And the same would be said for the Ottomans. Market here could do quite well to get the trade post distance up and running. And bear in mind, obviously, you can make some traders for the Sultan Hani trade network as well. And the outpost going up. And I wonder, actually, that's actually kind of nice that he's got the 50 stone. That will help him get that Aristotle's upgrade that he probably wants. This is actually quite a nice build here for Anotand, because, going for early miniature school would mean that you would have spent all the stone. And so you wouldn't have that stone for Aristotle's, which is actually something he's going to need if he is thinking about Fast Castle. There it is, queued up instantaneously. Really curious build, actually. I quite like it. A nice way to use that starting stone that the Ottomans get. Now, with so many sheep, there's so many, and also the deer camp, of course. This is going to be a really good tech-up timing here for the Ottomans, I think. Now, he doesn't have a mill, so he doesn't actually have the survival techniques upgrade, it seems. There's no way he has it if he doesn't have a mill. But that's actually one benefit that Twin Minaret Madrasa does offer. It does act as a mill technically, so you can get the research upgrades. Aristotle's is in, so the Khan has to get out of there. It's actually gone for is that a single archery range? Yeah, it is a single archery range. What's this? What, Mangudai? Oh, that's kind of crazy. I'm super surprised to see that, because that's highly unusual. Not least in part because they're not often seen as a particularly great unit in 1v1s, but also the fact that this map is very closed. Like, this palisade wall already denies any sort of entry point or harassment point on the west side. Another palisade wall here, and it's going to be hard for Mangudai to get value. Look at that, Anotand, he did spot the trade coming up. There is a market on the field. That actually looks pretty cool, actually. I've got to say, that building. I don't know if they had like an overhaul or update of the skins, but that looks pretty nice. And looks like it's good. This is a problem, actually, because Beasty would have wanted to scale his economy, but he can't with this here right now. He's going to have to send some units to deal with it. He does send a Mangudai. But that'll take some time. I think, Anotand might just wait that out. What's the movement speed? 1.56 on a Mangudai, 1.62, so he can technically get out of there if he wishes to. Did he just lose an archer? I think he just lost an archer. Oh, it was a Mangudai. Unfortunately for him. Aristotle's got him. Actually got a couple of units garrisoned inside. I think they're the spearmen, right? So adding in the damage output. Pretty nifty. Does lose a scout in the end. Anotand trades it in. He feels like, you know what? I know what's happening. I can see that there's trade going on. Do I really need any more information? Probably not. And I'll just delay the market going in for a little bit more. A couple more seconds. Either that or he forgot about it, but I can't imagine he forgot about it. Yeah, you can see the Mangudai can't really achieve too much here. Look at that tech up timing. Mehmed Imperial Armory coming in for the Ottomans. Building with 7 villagers, and that's going to offer him mangonels. Now, bear in mind, this game is played on the live version of Age of Empires 4. Recently, I have been casting a lot of the PUP, the Public Update Preview, which is a sneak peek into Season 9, where they have nerfed the mangonels quite significantly. And they've had a bit of a siege rework as well, but this is the live version, so the mangonels are in their full glory today, and they could do a lot of damage against Mangudai for sure, if they can catch up to them, of course, but if they can get a couple of shots, they are devastating. It's really hard for the Mangudai to get any sort of value here, right? But Beasty is going to go to the Castle Age himself, and I suspect it's going to be the Kurultai. Especially if he's thinking about trade. You typically don't expect to see the other landmark, which actually boosts the gold income. No real need for it if you're going for trade. The Kurultai gives you a lot more value. Alright, just some upgrades coming in now. Iron Undermesh for the Ottomans. Obviously a bit conscious of the fact that there's ranged units on the field. I mean, where does Beasty go from here, right? Because we haven't really seen too many units on the field for the Ottomans, and he's kept the stables pretty secret and at the back, right? He's going to go for some early lancers out the bat in the Castle Age, and I guess crossbows could do well. It's always tricky, though. You don't really want to go for crossbows as the Mongols at this sort of early stage. You kind of want to have the mobility, right? You want to be the one moving around the map. Especially if you're thinking about trade. You want to keep that alive. Wait, what is that? Is that new? Has that always been there, guys? Is that part of the mark? Wait, why is that? If you're thinking what I'm talking about the flames and the campfire. That's pretty sick. I don't know, is that part of the market? I mean, it's got to be, right? I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. Very cool. But it's going to steal that relic, it seems, the Imam. And that's actually really, really nice. Is it just me, or is that new? Either way. I always do love watching the graphics in Age of Empires 4 sometimes. I know it's not always a big talked about feature of RTS games, but I genuinely think that the graphic detail, the audio design for Age of Empires 4 is absolutely phenomenal. I can't think of any other RTS that gets it as good as this. I think generally it's overlooked and we don't make a big deal out of it, and I'm not too sure why, because it's actually really, really good. course, Age of Empires 4 did have its problems on launch. There's no denying that, but sometimes, you know, when they get things right, you got to say it, right? It does look like a great game. At least the graphics-wise, and to be fair, the balance has been in the perfect situation, or the best situation it's ever been. A couple of Lancers riding around the back, Mangudai chasing, which is not really what they want to be doing. I think, you know, Anotand's got a good foothold in the game. Whenever you see the Mongols on the back foot, you know you're doing something right. Going for the whistling arrows, going to increase the signal arrow duration. Now he's diving in a little bit. We'll get a couple of villagers, and he's quite happy to trade this. It's quite interesting to see, right, diving in with the units like this. He does have iron undermesh. Picks off one villager, so it does get some value, but I think he's getting a lot of value just by keeping Beasty away from his main base. Beasty struggling to make the trade really kick in. Only one market. He's not being too greedy with it either way. He's just trying to add in a couple of units here and there, right? Because if he does go too greedy, then he can't really afford units, and units is kind of what he needs right now, considering the pressure coming in from the Ottomans, and the Ottomans aren't really letting up. Now, kind of curious, there's actually no military schools. Would you believe we're almost 12 minutes into the game and the Ottomans actually not using one of the big things that they have about their civilization mechanics? It's not that he's not been active on the map, he certainly has, and he has used the stone to good use on the arrow slits, but really curious to see this. Now, the Mangudai, they're pretty squishy. Like, they just can't really dive in like the Lancers have been. Oh no, the market, it's in flames, it's about to go down. This trade is going to be severely hampered. Does he get this last drop off? I'm not so sure. How much gold is he getting anyway? 74 gold per trip. No, the Lancers, they paid attention. He snipes him down before he actually deposits the gold. Down the trader goes. Look at that death animation. Holy moly. A pretty quiet phase of the game, would you believe? Oh, what's going on here? Okay, so he's going to be mining some stone, possibly for military schools. You kind of expect it, right? But a big part of why the Lancers were running around the base is really because the Ottomans were trying to get those relics. He's already got one in his clutches, bringing that back home. There he is. Fully expecting to see a couple more come on too. Oh, he's pushing the villagers away from gold. Not ideal for Beasty there. Let's switch over to the income per minute. Starting to become a little bit more relevant in the game. Does have the second armor upgrade, Wedge Rivets. Angled Surfaces, of course, is the third tier upgrade. Now, we talked about having one relic in the grasp, but it's actually, he doesn't actually have a mosque, would you believe? He's actually just grab the relics and depositing them and then picking them more up on the map. He's clearly using the wood for other things. But yeah, it's a long time without a military school, actually. Still 13 minutes and climbing. A forward mosque is always a bit suspect. You know, if your forward positions are pushed, this is obviously going to be one of the first places to go. Wait. Anotand? Okay, yep. Just thought for a second, where are these imams going? Gets them in before the Mangudai can snipe. Village garrison inside, and the Mangudai not able to get too much damage. I do wonder whether the Ottomans will start to take into archers. It looks like it, actually, as it happens. Yeah, we do see a couple of archers on the field. Now, Lancer archers could be really powerful for Anotand. Kind of fully expecting to see it, but what do the Ottomans... What are they going to be going up against in counter to that? I don't think Mangudai is a long-term unit, obviously, for the Mongols. Can't be. Here come the stables. So possibly Keshik crossbow? I think that could be a nice combination, actually, as it happens. Because Keshik crossbow will do what Lancer and archers do pretty well. Except, of course, the crossbows will demolish those Lancers if they can get enough of them. Big problem is the siege. It's going to need some spring lords, which the Mongols can build on the ground. So that's something it could look to do. Has rebuilt another market. Anotand not messing about. He's moving forward with his army now. Deer stones and coral type, 2 landmarks. Having to back away. He's kept it secret for now. Is he going to dive in? I love the fact he's kept one Lancer there, attracting the attention of the Mangudai as the rest of the army go for the wood line. And Beasty could be caught out here. He's going to body block and get a couple of kills. Yeah, he gets a good few shots there. Nicely done. Good distraction, actually. One Lancer peeling away to the north, causing the Mangudai to aggro onto it, and then running away, trying to block a little bit with the landmarks, and does have the coral tie with the Mangudai chasing. And the batch of Mangudai coming from the west side. Mangudai could deploy archers grouping up together. Need to protect the Mangudai if they can, but there's nothing really to take the Mangudai out. So that zones the map off quite nicely here for Anotand. He's going to need some melee units, Beasty. Needs to find a way to deal with the Mangudai, otherwise he'll be constantly pushed. As in more stables, so it's definitely cavalry on the menu. I can say that much. 5 stables. Production will be ramping up. No doubt about that. Now heading to almost the 16-minute mark. The Ottomans are starting to ramp up production. Bear in mind, he's got 2 Mangudai for free. There's the first military school. Is targeted on, or toggled to archers, would you believe? 3 relics deposited for the Ottomans. It's going to be a big chunk of an economy boost. He's killed quite a few villagers up to now, Anotand, as well, so he's definitely ahead in economy as well. He's looking in a good spot. Especially with the 3 units going to be coming in soon. Mangudai, they do have the good mobility to try and protect the trade. The trouble is, he doesn't really have the tools to deal with this army that's at his base right now. Lancers diving on in, and the big problem for Mongols generally is that their eco is... it's awkward, right? So the trade is exposed, generally as eco goes, but then also the villages are all on one spot. Mangudai need to be careful though not to get caught out by those Keshiks. They are diving in. He might lose a couple of Mangudai. Archers on the back line for the Ottomans are rather, and the Kurultai deployed for the Mongols can be healing up those units, but good Mangudai shots on those Mangudai. So many of them die so quickly. He does pick off one Mangudai, but the other one remains, and Mangudai having to ride away. That's a really good push in for the Ottomans. The archer numbers doing great work against the Mangudai. Here come some of the Keshiks though. He might lose the Mangudai, probably will now, but not without losses. The archer's getting some good damage out, but does have the second ranged attack upgrade after all. Now this could get cleaned up, but he's focused firing on the Mangudai, which is definitely the right call, because he'll be killing those. He won't probably kill too many lancers considering the healing from the Kurultai. And Beasty deciding to pull the Mangudai away so they don't get sniped. Now the Mangudai on the clutches for the Ottomans, and we talked about sound design earlier in the cast, and man, the Mongols music is so good, but look at this. He's going for 3 town centers here. Anotand, he's going to scale that economy after dishing out all sorts of damage, forcing the Mongols back at home. This is a really solid play by Anotand. He's not rank 1 for no reason. We've definitely seen him, really come to the fore in terms of Age of Empires. And he's playing this one so nicely. He's got the economic advantage, he's got a good military on the field, and now he's going to sit back, relax, boom away, and force the issue on the Mongols to be aggressive. But the traders are starting to climb for Beasty. Fascinating game of Age of Empires, especially with the 3 town center play. It means that actually the Ottomans will be a little bit defensive for the next, I'd say 10-15 minutes maybe. 10 minutes I would imagine, something like that kind of time frame. Then afterwards he'll be kicking back up. And one thing to be concerned about if you're Beasty in this situation is that cavalry... oh, that villager's not going to get the walls up in time, or if he does, the walls go down pretty quickly. He deletes it there, and Anotand doesn't want to lose the wood. And he rebuilds it. It doesn't seem like a lot, but saving that wood, these things matter. They really do at this level of gameplay. But yeah, on that thought, cavalry is going to be a bit of an issue for the Mongols long-term wise because of the threat of Janissaries, right? The Ottomans always do great against cavalry civilizations because of Janissaries. He needs to scale the numbers, of course, but once he does that, cavalry is certainly going to be a problem. The Ottomans have a lot of tools in their armory, no doubt about it. A couple of lancers harassing the trade, and yeah, the economy for the Mongols is a lot more exposed, a lot more raidable than it is for the Ottomans. Oh, that Imam was dilly-dallying with that relic. It's been made to pay the price. Villagers might have to garrison inside. That's the other thing about town centers, of course. They are nice static defenses, which of course trade does not offer. There's a lot of idle time on these villagers. A couple will be picked apart. Here come a couple of spearmen. They're going to poke and prod, and I think he will lose a couple of Keshiks here on the left side. On the right side is pushing on in. Again, villagers are garrisoning inside. Might lose a couple to the charge. Doesn't quite manage it. I think he must have. He does have textiles. Which certainly helps the longevity of these villagers. Keeps them alive a lot longer. Forces the enemy to dive in a bit deeper into the base and suffer more losses. Walls are up. Bear in mind as well, the palisades now, they only take, I believe, 4 seconds to make. On the public update preview for Season 9, it was 8 seconds. Literally double. A lot harder to get the palisade walls up. And I'm kind of curious to see how that would change gameplay and greed styles, right? Because here, the situation, Anotand's got 3 town centers and he's really protecting himself with these palisades, which obviously in Season 9 would be a lot harder to establish. Now, he will be losing a couple of villagers, but, 3 town centers worth of production, he won't mind it too much as long as there's nothing catastrophic going on. But what I will say is the Mongols have a bit of breathing space now to really scale that trade. Well, low in the middle. Oh, wait! Anotand. Oh, okay, okay. That was a bit dicey. Nearly got the Wallow. Beasty takes the Imam out in the end. It wasn't that close, actually, to be fair, but it almost felt like it could have been. Spearmen are going to be running on through, but the Keshiks, you know, they're probably exhausted themselves on the west side at least now. Can't achieve too much, and the Mongols are starting to set up their camp on the front lines. We have seen them do this previously, actually. Plenty of outpost spam could work quite well for him. You know, gain map control, but also keeping it is important. I wonder if Beasty's going to look to play that style. We used to see it quite often for the Mongols in the early stages of Age of Empires. You know, they used to get the forward position, plenty of outposts, trebuchets, siege. It used to work out quite well for them. Trouble is, when it comes to siege, the Ottomans, they get some for free. He's already got 3 mangonels. Manages to dodge everything there, Beasty, but this is a menacing army for Anotand, and he's got a great economy behind it. And this is the thing, right? In this situation, Beasty has to time this to perfection, because if he delays it too long, Anotand's economy is going to be so strong that it just has a greater army, and even if he loses his army, he can replace it, right, with the banked up resources. But if he goes too quickly here, Beasty, then he won't have enough army himself to do significant damage. It's a really hard situation to be in, actually, as it happens. The Palisade's offering so much protection. Look how much time this is buying him. He's suffering losses with the arrows from the town center. He's also able to get his army in position. And look at this, deer stones, unprotected relatively. There's nothing here. The first of the outposts looking to go forward, but nothing protecting it. And so, look at the military number, 66. I mean, the military school is really helping him out here. He's in full swing. 4 military schools in total, constantly producing. And toggled onto spearmen. And the spearman spam is real. It's going to deal with the cavalry on the field, that's for sure. Goraltai is kind of exposed. He's going to deploy it now, potentially looking to take a fight, but with that number of mangonels, with that number of janissaries, yeah, the janissary numbers have really scaled. And the cavalry, it's going to be hard for them to do any damage here for the Mongols. He can't engage the army directly, right? And so what this offers Anotand is the ability just to push down the middle. Sure, he's possibly exposed to being raided at the back home, but he can always get reinforcements. And he's got the static defenses in the form of the town centres. And if Beasty does dive, well then he's going to be exposed at home. And Anotand knows that. He sniped out the Kurultai, which is a big deal. Big military landmark for the Mongols. Yeah, the trade is working pretty well for Beasty. 30 traders in total, but it's a very exposed economy, right? Without any walls, the Ottomans could just go out and look to take those out. Oh, really just going to torch this down before any upgrades come on in. Nicely done. Right down the middle, though. Deer stones is being repaired, but I mean, that's, you know, sunk cost of resources. Spearman brace against cavalry. Oh, he's going to get at least a couple of Keshiks here. He's picking off traders as we speak, and the kill count is really climbing. Villagers garrison inside the town centre, completely idled. A third of the economy for the Mongols completely idled at this point. Here comes the first of maybe mangonels. Oh, that's a bad timing to pop out. Spin might get it in the end. Villagers, they're not on hand to repair, so he might just body block it out. He keeps mangonel alive, but only just. Oh, maybe not. It's going to go down. Surely. Oh, that's close. 4 HP on that for Beasty. He needs to repair that. Keep it alive if he can. Spearman brace, but good mangonel shot on them. Archers are pretty exposed. The Keshiks will take him out, but look at this on the back line. A couple of spearmen dotted around. He's taking out traders. And this is not looking good. This economy will not be easy to replenish here for Beasty. Really smart move. You know, Anotand's not necessarily looking to win the fight down the middle. It's more of a distraction. Because this is where the big damage output's coming in. Traders going left, down, left, right, and centre. From spearmen that have been made for free from the military school. Yeah, it's got another market, but that trade route is not going to be as big as the other one would have been. But he can scale a little bit. If he does lose too many traders, he can keep producing. 83 gold. 8 wood, 8 food. And this is a lovely play just to move a couple of units on the west side to make sure the traders can't drop off freely. Good harassment from Anotand. Behind all of this, look at this, he's playing this so smoothly. Going to the Imperial Age at a situation at a time where Beasty's economy has been hit hard. Beasty is looking no way near the Imperial Age. Now these spearmen will be taken down in the end. going to be a big depositing of gold for Beasty. And food and wood as it happens. He's going to need everything he can get. He's going to need Imperial Age himself, actually, as it happens, because the Ottomans' Imperial Age... Oh, look at that. 4 mangonels. Yeah, the Imperial Age... 5 mangonels, in fact. The Imperial Age for the Ottomans is incredibly powerful. Add in a couple of great bombards into the army, and you've got siege going for you. He's got all the tools. He's got the Janissaries. Get a really strong army together. Janissary, man-at-arms, siege. In fact, Janissary Spearman and Siege is incredibly nice. The meta, where is he off to? He's banging on his drums, finding out some intel. Gotta find out what the Mongols are up to. Who already knows, but can I say this is one of my favourite units in Age of Empires 4, actually, as it happens. It actually looks really good, and it's something unique, right? It's pretty cool to see. No other civilization gets this sort of thing where literally there's a unit banging on his drums. Of course, there are some units that do inspire the military, like the Prelate for the HRE and all that jazz, but it's very nice to see a uniqueness there for the civilization for the Ottomans. Double outpost. Keshiks will break through in the end, but at what cost? Feels like he needs to do damage, I guess. Mangudai continuing to kite the spearmen, pick up numbers if he can. But now with the Imperial Age in for the Ottomans, is getting those upgrades in. Look at that. It's going to get the Janissary guns, increasing the gun damage by +3. Really powerful upgrade, by the way, for the Ottomans. Makes them a very versatile unit as the base damage increases. Going to get the elite spearman upgrade as well, and it's a cavalry play, incredibly tough. He's got 2 units that counter them. He's trying to break through on the west side, but he's pulling away now. Doesn't want to engage just yet. The spearmen continuing to harass the trade. Meta. Can't really attack, but he spots the villager nonetheless. So it's going to turn to a bit of a siege fight. A couple of springles there for the Mongols, but that's a lot of mangonels. You know what? This number of mass mangonels can do significant damage. Does take out a lot of HP on some of the Mongol mangonels, but we might lose a couple. Loses 2 mangonels so far here. The Ottomans, spearmen brace those. Keshiks are running into trouble with the Janissary guns, upgraded Janissaries, and they're pushing on through. Elite army tactics coming in as well. Those cavalry units absolutely melt to this Ottoman army, and that leaves that siege exposed. That's one way to do it. Completely surround the siege. It escapes with 4 springles, but he loses the mangonels here, Beasty, and he has to go on the retreat. Beasty, he's down in terms of military numbers, down in terms of economy. The Ottomans took a decisive fight there. He's got all the right units. And this is looking rough for the Mongols. I guess man-at-arms could be a play for them, but it's still a very tricky situation. And this is what makes Mangudai pretty tough to play into, because sure, they're a ranged unit that can do well against the spearmen, but they don't do so well against Janissaries if they get close to them. Coral type, still not usable now for the Mongols now. It's been taken down. The push is coming on through. But look at this. Lovely play down on the west side. Just sending a little group of an army for the Ottomans just to harass that economy. A lot of players would just go straight down the middle for the jugular, right? But Anotand recognizes there's no rushing this. There's no need to. There's no need to be overzealous. Just take out what hurts Beasty, and that is the trade. And Beasty's army can't be in 2 locations at once, right? So what does he do? He splits up his army and goes in both directions. He has a force to go down the middle as well if he needs to. White Stupa as the landmark for the Imperial Age, but I can imagine that Anotand, as soon as he sees the notification for the Imperial Age, I suspect he will go for the kill. We shall see. A couple of spearmen can dive on the mangonel, but I think the mangonel should survive. But what probably won't survive are a lot of these villagers, a lot of the traders, and wood's certainly becoming an issue for him. A trade completely cut off. And that's a huge chunk of the economy. Villagers idled and garrisoned. This is not looking good for Beasty, this situation. He's attacked up to the Imperial Age, but needs to find a way to push this back somehow. It's been a great game so far, but you get the sense that Beasty is on the back ropes. He's got to find a way to deal with this situation. And without access to palisade walls, the Mongols find it difficult to zone their enemy's army into a position to fight in. As you can see, the Ottomans fighting in multiple angles. Coming from the west, coming from the east, coming right down the centre. Mangonels clearing up the spearmen. Oh, he loses a couple of mangonels there for quite cheap there. Oh, that's unfortunate for Beasty. There's a lot of resources gone. Town centre idled. And he's just got attack notifications coming in left, right and centre. I can't see Beasty holding on too much longer, but maybe there's a way back if he can get some units out quickly. The trouble is the military number's just not looking good. He's losing siege engines. He's going to grab as much food as he can with these villagers whilst they can. But we somehow got to find the way to get the trade up and running. Has dealt with a lot of the units on the west side, but Janissaries are... It's actually one-shot in the traders, holy moly. Oh no, it's an absolute massacre on these traders. Just a handful of Janissaries. You can see how much damage they really do. They will be taken down in the end on the right side. Oh, the spearman could take out... No, I think the spearman will go down to the springwood emplacements. Right down the middle, he's diving on in. Metas, they're brave. They're going to get an outpost as well. It's just something we see the Mongols do, but it's the Ottomans' turn this time. Oh, actually, the villager decides wants to do other things. He's got a couple of Mangudai. He's clearing up the west side. He needs that trade. This is the economy for Beasty. He needs it. Working for him. More villagers coming out with the torches to take out the Mangudai. Whilst they might, again, it's more idle time. Down to 84 villagers, down to 19 military. Here come Mangudai to support those villagers. But they're kind of caught, right? Janissaries will pick them apart. Yeah, Beasty, he's bleeding on all sorts of angles, all sorts of directions. Sacred Site's being caught as well. Bear in mind, 5 relics are in play for the Ottomans, so he's got gold coming out of his ears. And this is looking a bit too tough. There it is. We kind of expected it to come on in. There it is. GG gets called. It was a great game of Age of Empires 4. A fascinating one. Lots of strategic talking points. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you subscribe. More importantly, hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. Take care and see you next time.